Limerick City and County have a long tradition of sending their sons to serve in the British Armed Forces. Indeed, for over 250 years, thousands of Irishmen joined the British Army. The modern British Army was established by King Charles II in 1661 and was a typical army of its time. At this time, European armies introduced lots of new systems, which are collectively called the Military Revolution. Armies became permanent, soldiers became full-time and received proper training, soldiers began wearing uniforms, they stopped lodging with the civilian population and started living in barracks. Also, armies were divided into units called regiments. In the 18th and 19th centuries, a large portion of the British Army was always stationed in Ireland. To house these soldiers, army barracks were built all over the country. The Royal, later Collins Barracks in Dublin, was at one stage the largest barracks in Europe. In the 1770s, a lot of the penal laws were abolished, resulting in Catholics being allowed to join the British Army. As a result, recruitment by Irish Catholics to the European armies dropped, and instead they joined the British Army in large numbers. Strategically located and the third largest city in Ireland, Limerick was a major garrison town. In 1824, there were 71 officers and 1,160 men stationed in Limerick. To house all these soldiers, Limerick had 4 military barracks. The Castle Barracks was built in the 1840s. It was the first barracks in the city and was built in the courtyard of King John's Castle. The new, now known as the Sarsfield Barracks, was built between 1795 and 1797 and later extended to become the largest barracks in Limerick. Since 1922, it has been the only barracks in the city. The Ordnance Barracks was completed in 1807 on Mulgrave Street and housed a brigade of artillery. And finally, the Strand Barracks was built as a workhouse called the House of Industry in 1772 and became a barracks in 1841. It was the home base of the Limerick City Militia, which was like the present Army Reserve. The local Limerick Regiment from 1881 to 1922 was the Royal Munster Fusiliers. In 1881, Britain and Ireland were divided into regimental districts, each of which had a regiment which drew its recruits from the district in question. Each regiment was made up of 2 full-time battalions, one serving overseas and one at home for training, with 1 or more part-time battalions which made up the local militia. The Royal Munster Fusiliers was established by the amalgamation of 2 former Indian regiments. Its headquarters was Ballymullen Barracks in Tralee, County Kerry. It recruited from counties Cork, Limerick, Kerry and Clare. Its symbol was the Bengal tiger, and it had 3 regimental marches: St. Patrick's Day, the British Grenadiers, and Won't You Come Home to Bombay. During the First World War, the Munsters were greatly expanded from 5 to 10 battalions. Between 1914 and 1918, a total of 12,000 men served with the Royal Munster Fusiliers and 2,850 died, of whom 377 or 13% were from the Limerick City and County. At the outbreak of the war, an unknown number of Limerick men were already serving in the British Armed Forces. They were joined by an estimated 4,000 Limerick men who joined up during the course of the war and joined other regiments besides the Royal Munster Fusiliers. During the war, Limerick had the highest rate of recruitment per head of population of the 4 counties in the Royal Munster Fusiliers catchment area. In peacetime, 75% of the Munster's recruits came from cities and towns. During the First World War, 93% of recruits in Limerick City and County joined up from the city. Although a lot of these would have been parts of the county adjacent to the city, the majority were from the city.